What is the difference between the growing saffron indoors in India and Europe? What is the difference? The saffron business, the saffron project, a person that want to start in the India and the Europe. Very clear. Three factors determine and they guarantee your success in the saffron business. First of all is the labor force. Second is the quality of the bulbs and the size of the bulbs. And another one is the cold shocking. The time of the cold shocking, duration of the cold shocking. These three factors determine your quality of the saffron, the quantity of your saffron, and without that, these are the most important factors in the growing saffron indoors. Now about a person that want to start the saffron business in the India, the labor force, the number one challenge, the first challenge. The most important part in the growing saffron indoors is the labor force, the time of the saffron and the flowering. Unfortunately, some people thinks only the harvesting saffron takes that. This is completely wrong. This is the separating the saffron, the cleaning the saffron. After the harvesting, you should clean the saffron. Separate the red part from the petals. Separate a stigma from the petal. This takes time. 90% of the price of the saffron related to the labor force. 90% of the labor force cost related to the flowering. And 90% of the labor force in the flowering is related to the cleaning. Therefore, it's very, very important, okay, in the separating the flowers. But in the India, let me give you example. In India, if a person that want to start the saffron business, for labor force, for example, for the 50 tons, saffron bulbs capacity. 50 tons saffron bulb is equal near the 50 kilogram dry saffron. For this amount, he should hire near the time of the separating near the 70 people, 80 people, 90 people. The price of the labor force in the India per day is near 7 euro. Okay, 7 euro per day. In the Europe is near 80 euro, 70 euro in the Euro. Okay, near the 10 times expensive, more expensive than India. Therefore, the most important part, this is the very good news for Indian if they want to start in the India. Okay, labor force in India per day 7 euros. Some people pay even less than this 7 euros. Some time that ask my client, Indian client, and in Europe. Therefore, is the most important part can be solved in the India. Another thing is the cold shocking. The majority of the city in the India, unlike the Rishikesh, Haridwar, in the October and November experience warm climate. Therefore, they should pay for the money for the chiller. Chiller also is so expensive. They should pay. But the majority of the people that live in the Europe, it doesn't need pay for the chiller, for the cold shocking, for the cold for the energy cost. Okay. Therefore, in the European, it's correct that the energy cost in the Europe is very high, but we don't consume too much energy in Europe, because in the November and the October we need to temperature between 10 centigrade to 17 centigrade. In the majority of the country in Europe, in the November and October, automatically the weather provide for us this weather. But in India, the weather, we should pay money for the energy cost. Energy cost also is in India is not too much. It's not too much. For example, if in the UK is at 0.5 euro, in the UAE is 0.2, I think it's less than this number in the India. Therefore, in the Europe, but even, okay, the Indian people should be, this is not very good news, but this is even not very, very bad news, because in India, if they pay for the chiller is the fixed cost, not variable cost. Okay, labor force is including variable cost. They only pay one time pay for chiller, and therefore for the 20 years, for the 10 years, they have the chiller. Therefore, what with the factors that determine the benefit is the variable cost. You should have the control on the variable cost. If you have good access to the variable cost, like the labor force, like the energy cost, like the other things, these even the good news. Okay, therefore a person that want to start in the India, only they should the fixed cost is high. For example, they for the chiller, but labor force is very too low. All country, this is a very challenging, but India, due to labor force cost is low, this can be very good news for the Indian and the guarantee the benefit in the growing saffron indoors in the India. Okay, about the saffron quality, because in the India there is not even the heavy bulk, they should import from the other country like Europe, like other country. But this is very important. Okay, you should hopefully we solve the problem. In my book, also mentioned in my book the full information about the company that provide the best bulbs. You can order my book, and in more than all the list related to the saffron bulbs. We have, this is not problem, the saffron bulbs. Okay, because all the new companies provide very good quality of the bulbs. Therefore, only things, this is the labor force and the energy cost. Now, this is related to India. But in the Europe, okay, labor force is the very high, and also, but the good news I told you, there is not purchasing any chiller in the Europe. Even if you were forced to purchase the chiller, energy consumption is not very high. Okay, for the Europe. But even in the Europe, the best solution is purchasing the separator machine. Separator machine that they clean the saffron and automatically separate the red part from the petal. Now, even if you pay for the labor force is a very high, okay, is a labor force very high, but the price of the saffron in the Europe more than this country like the India. For example, if the saffron price be in the India 5,400 or 5,000 euro, in the Europe you can sell your saffron over 10,000 euro. Therefore, the high price of the labor force, the high cost of the labor force compensate the price of the real saffron in the Europe for you. Therefore, we cannot say in the Europe doesn't have economical justification for the business. Both of them is a very good, but Indian people, I told you, I'm explaining the reality, because the Indian guys, Indian people, they easily they can solve with the labor force low in the region. Therefore, if in the Europe labor force is a very high, labor force is a very low. Now, another factors. This is the cold temperature. Now, in the cold, another factor that I told you, the cold shocking factor is a very important. For example, in the south of India, you are forced to provide the chiller, but the labor force is low, compensate the warm region. But if a country that the energy cost is high, the price of the saffron be low. Therefore, even the warm region, you are forced to purchase the chiller, you are forced to pay money for the energy consumption. In this region, if the price of saffron is low, the labor force is high, and this is the warm region, that is very clear, saffron business doesn't have economical justification. Okay? Therefore, you should be very careful. If your region is very cold, this is the good news. If the labor force is very low, this is the good news. For example, like this. Therefore, when I'm talking about the labor force cost, exactly like this. After harvesting, this process takes time. This process takes time separating petal from the stigma, and this is easily now in the machine, the new machine that introduced, can even the work. For example, if a person that want to 5 kilogram dry saffron with machine, it needs machine separator machine with the 5 people. Even that person that want to produce 500 kilogram dry saffron, 500 kilogram dry saffron, even the machine exactly use 5 people. Therefore, this separator machine is very good for people that want to produce huge amount of the saffron. Okay, a person, the price same. We don't have the separate machine separator. For example, for the amount of the lower saffron is the low. No. For example, if a person that want to pay, he should pay same money for the separator for 5 kilogram dry saffron per year. If even the people or person that want to produce saffron exactly should pay for the same price. Both of them for the 5 kilogram dry saffron, producing 5 kilogram dry saffron and 500 kilogram dry saffron, both of them use only 5 people for the 5 kilogram and the 500 kilogram. Therefore, it's much better you produce more than this amount for the economical classification. Also, the new category of my book, I have added economic sector in my book. I have added the list of the already near the 4 months ago. I added the list of all the equipment that you need, plus the new machine that in the Iran or the other country. I have mentioned the contact number of the machine with the people that you can contact and the order this machine. In my book, you can easily and contact them, and you can ask about the price and everything. If you need my book, this is a very clear, plus the video. You can text me on the WhatsApp 0098935825345. My book is with a simple language. You can start for your own business in your home, in your office, in your country. Thank you.